So joining us here, Florida State Seminole great, Pittsburgh Steeler great, two-time Super Bowl champion, the All Things Covered podcast, CBS Sports HQ. We always love when Bryant McFadden joins us here. Bryant, thanks a lot for hanging out with us, man. And I spoke to you probably last time, a little more than a year ago, and I asked you if FSU was headed in the right direction, and you felt that they were. And I would say, I mean, right about now, you must be feeling so great about your Seminoles.
Yeah, I feel real good about Florida State football-wise because we have talent. We have good coaches on both sides of the football, and we have some kids that really love the game of football. And that's important when you try to win ball games, when you try to get in a championship conversation. That's extremely important, especially in college football. And I'm enjoying the ride right now. We got a huge game this weekend, going to Clemson, a team we haven't beat in quite some time. So for us to get to where we're trying to go, we got to take care of our business this upcoming Saturday.
It feels like this is the game, right? Where, okay, I understand Clemson is not ranked right now. They were, of course, I think ranked 10 at the start of the season. But this kind of feels like, all right, even if Clemson may be down, you got to go there and kind of beat the shit out of them and let everybody know, hey, we're back. We're going to win the ACC this year.
Yeah, we just got to win. That's the most important thing, win. Now, if you can do so in a dominant fashion, of course, that's extra, right? But there's no such thing as style points in the game of football, because if you blow a team out by 40 or 50, if you beat them by 3 or 4 points, it only counts as one win. Now, granted, you want to take care of your business, but if you win the games you're supposed to win, which is every game on your schedule, when it's all said and done, you will be able to go where you need to go, which is the playoffs, finding a way to get into the playoffs. And for us being in the ACC and knowing there's no division in size anymore, the top two teams in the division will compete for a championship. We know how important this game is. Then when you factor in the historical aspect to this game and this series over the last few years, Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers have dominated Florida State. So those are two important hurdles we need to get over to try to continue our quest for a playoff opportunity.
Now, the Canes certainly are not on the level right now that FSU appears to be. I mean, FSU really looks like they could be the best team in the country, despite a very tight win last week against BC. But the Canes look like they're heading in the right direction as well. I'm obviously, I went to UF. I'm a Canes fan because I grew up down here. Yeah. It's awesome when FSU is really great like this, because I grew up in the 90s where every year Miami and FSU play, and the winner's competing for a national title, and the loser's season gets ruined because of that game. So it's awesome when both teams are good.
First and foremost, let me ask you a question. How are you a Canes fan and you go to Gainesville?
Okay, this is a great question, Brian. I'm glad you asked that. Well, first of all, Miami, as you know, that's a private school. We can't all afford to go to private schools, all right? Okay. So I go to the University of Florida. That's a good school. And I can't just drop my Canes fandom. I was a fan for 18 years, for the first 18 years of my life. So, yes, I obviously want my school to do well, University of Florida, but also I do a show here in Miami. So what's best for business is for the Hurricanes to be really good. Does that answer the question well?
Okay, it makes sense. I just wanted to know. I was curious. But in regards to your question about Miami, Miami, I think they're a better team this year. We don't know exactly how good, because I understand they took care of business easily against A&M, but I don't think A&M is a pretty good team.
Yeah.
I think best case scenario in the SEC West, best case scenario, they're probably the fourth best team in the West, right? They have a lot of issues. So Miami took care of their business easily against A&M. Everyone else they played against, Bethune-Cookman,
Miami of Ohio.
Miami, Ohio. This week, Temple.
Yeah.
They haven't really been tested. But Van Dyke is playing better football, which is a plus. Skill-wise, they've always had talent. In the trenches, it seems to be a much improved group. So that's something to hang your hat on. And they will get tested, as the season goes along. But so far, they took care of the business against the teams that have been scheduled for them, and that's what you want to do.
What do you make of the portal? free agency essentially in college football. Kids can move around. I love that the kids don't have to sit out a year when they transfer. I hated that rule. But now it's, I mean, it really is like free agency. So what do you make of it?
There's pros and cons to the transfer portal. It's okay. I'm okay with a kid transferring because the coaching staff left, the coach that recruited him left, that personal relationship that made him comfortable in saying, I'm coming to your university, that relationship is no longer there. I'm okay with that. But if a kid is just transferring because he can't crack the lineup, you should have did your due diligence before signing to see what the depth chart is looking like. So you know what you're walking into, and the likelihood of you cracking that lineup is what? When you do your due diligence. If you just, hey, they're not playing me, I'm not starting. Well, you should have figured that out before you actually sign. You know what I mean? And you just, now you want to transfer because you don't want to work or compete. That's not teaching accountability. That's not teaching fighting through adversity. So that's a con for me. You know what I mean? That's why I kind of scratch my head sometimes when I hear some of these kids transferring from this school, from that school, from this school, from that school. You know what I mean? You got to understand what you're signing up for when you sign that letter of intent. You got to do your due diligence. Look at the roster. Look at who else they're considering at your same position. You know what I mean? So that's the issue that I have with the transfer portal.
Are you enjoying what Deion is doing at Colorado?
Oh, no question. I think it's great for college football. It's great for Colorado in totality. And the storyline is changing in the Pac-12. You know, before the season started, we felt like it was only between USC and Oregon, best case scenario. You can sprinkle in Utah because, you know, Utah is always in that conversation, a competitive team. Michael Penix Jr. may give the Huskies an opportunity, and clearly he's giving them an opportunity. But now you got to sprinkle in Colorado into that conversation as well. So it's great in regards to how the narrative has changed in the Pac-12 and in college football in totality. It makes college football even more exciting to watch. I don't know the last time I actually watched Colorado play at 11 p.m., 10:30 p.m. kickoff and watched the entire game, but I did so last week against Colorado State, as most of us also took part in, and that was an entertaining game. Awesome. I enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, two rivals that don't like each other. And I understand we saw a lot of flags, a lot of mixed emotions that took place in that ball game. But you know that's how it is with rivalries. You know what I mean? That's how it's supposed to be in college football. That's why college football is such a unique game. You know what I mean? So I'm enjoying every moment.
Bryant, was it weird where Deion made a point of saying that he doesn't consider himself an FSU guy, that he's an HBCU guy? Like, did that turn some heads for FSU grads? You know, guys like yourself?
It was weird. Logically speaking, he graduated from an HBCU.
Yeah.
That's the fact.
Yeah.
Right? He played, he made his name, he established relationships at Florida State.
Yeah.
Now, if you didn't want to mention Florida State University in that presser, out of respect for the team you're coaching, I'm okay with that. That's fair, right? You're coaching Colorado, so why are you talking about another university that you have no ties to, that you shouldn't want to bring attention to? But I think if that was the mindset for Prime, and I'm just giving my assumption, make it known. Listen, I'm here at Colorado. FSU is FSU. Let's talk about Colorado.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, and he didn't even mention Florida State. He's like, why are you calling me that? You know what I mean? That was the kind of underlining confusing part. Like, okay, wait a minute. All the coaching that you received at Florida State is basically the same things you're exercising to your players under the great Bobby Bowden, under Mickey Andrews. Hey, he tell his DBs if they get beat in practice, they got a bell crawl. You know who started doing that? Mickey Andrews. Mickey Andrews told Prime that, Terrell Buckley that, Leroy Butler told me that. Listen, if you get beat in one-on-one drills or wherever you get beat at in 11-on-11 drills, wherever they catch the ball, you bear crawl from that point back to the line of scrimmage and get up there and get in another rep. Those are things that Coach Andrews, legendary coach, expressed and utilized with Prime and his teammates that he's doing out in Colorado. So that was the issue that I had. I think it could have been handled differently. Like I said, if you shouldn't want to bring attention to a university that you have no ties to that is a competitor in regards to recruiting and things like that. But the way don't call me that. You know where I went. No, you graduated from HBCU, but you became primetime where? Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Tallahassee.
Yeah. No, it's a good way of putting it. Let's talk about. I need your expert analysis of what took place on Monday night. I never played. I played basketball growing up. Certainly never played professional anything. But I didn't even play football growing up. I played basketball growing up. I was not big enough for football. Definitely not tough enough. But I'm watching the game on Monday night. And not only were you a DB, you were a DB for the Steelers, all right? And the big story is that awful injury with Nick Chubb. Very difficult to watch. Everything that I've known about Nick Chubb really seems like one of the good dudes in the NFL, too. So it especially sucks. You see that kind of injury happen to a guy like him. And Minkah Fitzpatrick, the knee bends the way it's not supposed to. Tell me from your perspective, again, you were a DB, similar size probably to a guy like Minkah Fitzpatrick. When you saw that play, what were your thoughts? Was Minkah wrong the way that he dove? Is that a freak play? When people are saying that it's a dirty hit, what's your response?
It's not dirty. My response is, number one, it's not dirty because he is playing within the game. The whistle was not blowed. Even though Chubb was engaged with a defender, we're taught as defenders to play until the whistle is blown. Never assume a guy is down until you know he is down. So for Minkah, when you play full speed and you have to react extremely fast, you don't have any time to second guess your movement. You got to go. Because Nick Chubb he's an awesome running back. And the thing that makes Nick Chubb so good at what he does, he's powerful. Mm-hmm. He's strong. You don't usually see one man bring him down. You don't usually see that. And so for Minkah, you see Chubb is engaged with a defender already, but you see he's still fighting. And we're taught as defenders, we can't tackle above the shoulder. We know what's going to happen. Right? So there's a thin line in where you should go, your target point. And some people are saying, well, why don't you target him in your chest? You have to think fast. It's not like I can slowly get up to the guy and determine where I want to hit him at. No, you got to react fast because he's a powerful guy. And if you don't react fast to the point of attack, he may run through your tackle. It's just an ugly situation to be in. But when you're in the heat of the battle, you have to react. It's not you don't think in regards in a play. Most of the thinking is done pre-snap alignment. When you see the formation, right? You see what they're in. Your film study kicks into play. Okay, I got trips over here, usually backside. They love to run a slant and go slug or whatever the case may be. That's when you're thinking. But when the game is in play, now you're reading and you're reacting. And he reacted to a play that looked extremely tough to see. You cringed when you saw it, but it wasn't a dirty play.
So the part that I have a hard time or was having a hard time reconciling, and that's why I need to ask someone who really knows like you do. I hear the day after where, okay, you can't go high on a guy like Nick Chubb because he's so powerful. You're not going to be able to bring him down like that. And so my thought process is, all right, because he's so powerful, the explanation to tackle him cannot be, all right, let's go head first into his knees. Like there's got to be there's got to be an in-between there, doesn't there, Bryant?
Well, it is, but the rules tell us to go low. Because if I go too high, there's a thin line between me being high and hitting him in the head.
And every player, by the way, would probably tell you, I always want you to hit me in the head high as opposed to hit me low,
We've heard
right?
offensive players verbalize that time and time again. Rather hit me high than low. But for us, we know what's going to happen when you hit a player high. Heck, when you get close to their head, they're throwing a flag.
Right.
And those 15-yard penalties can really put you in positions to lose ball games. Right? We saw that with Kareem Jackson. In 2 weeks, he's been ejected. First game against the Raiders, last week against Washington. He went high. Right? But if he went low, guess what? He's not getting ejected.
Yeah.
He's not getting the penalty. But he's trying to protect the offensive players, but then he also understands with me doing that, I put myself in harm's way not finishing the game with my teammates, and I'm getting fined. So you get hit with a fine, get hit with a personal foul penalty, and you get ejected out of the ball game. So and like I said,
it's really
Zach,
about trying to avoid. It's really about trying to avoid penalties, is what you're saying.
It's a split decision.
Yeah,
you got to react now, and you got to react as fast as I'm gone.
Yeah.
So for Kareem, he went high, ejected, and he's fine. Mika goes low. Chubb is injured, out for the year,
and no penalty.
And no penalty. Right. Did you see a flag?
No.
But if he hit Chubb high anywhere around the head, what?
Definitely, it happened with Jalen Waddle the other day. He's in concussion protocol right now as a penalty.
And that happened in the back.
Yeah.
And me personally, I didn't think that warranted a flag, but that's the nature of the game and how referees, how they're taught to call the game.
Just a shitty situation all around.
Yeah, but if that same player hit Waddle around the knees, it's not a flag.
Right, and he could blow his knee out, but it's not a penalty.
Yeah, so for Mika, man, it's a tough situation to be in, man, because you gotta play to the maximum of your ability against a guy like Chubb. You gotta go. You can't think. You gotta go with all your might. And unfortunately, it was an ugly situation.
Yeah, I'll let you go on this. How good are the Dolphins? Dolphins are so good, Brian.
Hey, I don't know if you heard what I said. I think Tua can win the MVP if he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that Tua is probably one of the more hated quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Why?
When I say the word hate, I'm not saying people dislike him or they hate him.
They like being critical.
Yes, he is one of them. That's better. He's one of the more critical quarterbacks in the National Football League. Because when he does things good, when he does things the right way, you have something to say. And then when he has a slip up here or there, you're jumping on him. Think about this. If Tua was Justin Herbert, he would be glorified as the next great thing, great quarterback. What has Justin Herbert done that has been better than Tua?
I mean, overall yards, maybe some stats. That's it.
Stats, maybe, but in regards to winning.
No, nothing.
Right? In regards to close ball games.
No, doesn't win them.
He don't.
No.
Tua is a guy that can win ball games. He can give you numbers, and he does things the right way. But for some reason, he is he's criticized more than he's deserving of being criticized.
And he's so likable. You know, I mean, Brian, I'm sure he's your pal. You know, Ryan Clark, when's the last time an analyst was critical of a player? And granted, Ryan was joking, but when's the last time an analyst was critical of a player? The player got upset about it, and the analyst made a video apologizing. You know, I mean, like Tua,
and then that just root for. That's how, you know, some people value or view Tua. And like you said, RC was joking, and the joke kind of went the wrong way. People took it the wrong way, and he manned up and he apologized. Those two guys mended the situation and moved on. But in regards to just Tua, that's just that people come at Tua. You know what I mean? And people come at Tua not in a joking way like RC was coming at Tua. And I just feel like, man, Tua stays healthy. That's it. If he stays healthy, I love the creativity within their offense. I love the way they utilize Tua. He stays healthy. He's going to do numbers. They're going to win ball games, and he should be in the MVP conversation. I tell you this, I'm not just an individual that say things just to say it. When I said I believe Tua could win the MVP, the next day, you know what I did? I went out and put money on Tua to win the MVP.
Yeah, there you go.
What if I say that, I believe it, I'm going to put money where my mouth is. If he stays healthy, Tua Tagovailoa could win the MVP. And the thing about this year's Zags, the usual suspects are not getting off to a super hot start.
Mahomes, Burrow,
Hurts.
Yep.
Lamar.
Yeah, you're right.
They haven't gotten up to a hot start. One thing we know about the MVP award, the month of September is very, very important.
Yep.
For whoever it is in that conversation, they get up to a hot start, and they're winning ball games. They can ride that wave. One thing we know about Miami, considering health, they're going to win ball games. Defensively, they will get better. They get Jalen Ramsey back. Think about that. Yeah. They've been playing real good football without Jalen Ramsey. You know what I mean? Eventually, we're going to start seeing more of Jalen Waddle. And the thing about their offense, they can score splash plays at any given time. We saw Raheem Mostert take off a 40-plus yarder. We know Tyreek Hill can give you that same aspect. The same can be said for Jalen Waddle. So, yeah, if he stays healthy, he win the MVP award, and I win because I put money on him, and I got plus 900 odds.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Plus 900 odds.
There you go. As a DB,
yep.
Hill, Waddle, even Mostert, like they're impossible, right?
No question. And the thing that people don't talk about with Tyreek Hill that I love, he plays almost every rep. He is in the lineup. There are a few wide receivers that play the majority of the reps, snaps. Justin Jefferson is one. He's always in the lineup. Chase, Devontae, Tyreek, a few other ones, but just off the top of my head, when most wide receivers, they play a down, they come out. Mm-hmm. It's a run, they come out. You know what I mean? It's a critical situation, they come back in. They get rest. For us, defensive backs, we don't come out of the game. We're in. Only time we come out, we're dealing with an injury. But one thing I like about Tyreek, he's always in the lineup. And because of that, the opportunities will always be there for him to do big things, not to mention the skill set. He has become such a much better route runner. You can tell he's been working on his craft. He's been working on his hands. You remember one time people used to say about Tyreek, well, he's not a good route runner. He's just a speed guy. You can't say that anymore. He has really improved his craft in regards to running routes. That's why he's the ultimate complete wide receiver. At this stage in his career, he is a complete wide receiver. No debate at all. And how can you slow him down? And with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek is a great individual to learn from. Came in as a speed guy, evolved as a complete wide receiver. Learn from him, his study habits, his work habits, conditioning his body, keeping his body intact. You know what I mean? Tyreek really don't deal with injuries.
Yeah.
That's one thing that Jalen got to figure out. He, little knickknacks here or there. Find out how you need to keep your body intact to be able to be durable for a long season. Because that's the only thing that can slow this offense down. That's the only thing that can slow the Dolphins down is injuries. Injuries. And I understand some things you can't prevent.
Yep.
But there are a lot of things that you could help in regards to not allowing little things to surface and taking care of your body. If they stay healthy, Zags, the Dolphins can do big things. They can have a special season. Stay healthy and stay focused week by week.
Yeah, it's really fun, man. Home opener this weekend against Denver. Excellent job, Bryant. All Things Covered is the podcast you do with your cousin. Tell everybody how they can catch you guys.
Man, All Things Covered. 2 South Florida guys. Myself, Patrick Peterson. Catch us anywhere where podcasts are found, Spotify, Apple. We have a YouTube channel as well, All Things Covered /YouTube if you want to see us. We talk all things. Of course, we recap, preview Steeler matchups. We talk football around the league. We have big-time guests on as well. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hey, we might send you some gear. Zags, I gotta send you some gear too.
Yeah, I like that. I like that hood right there. I mean, I don't know if I fill out the sleeveless the way you do, but I like that hood right there.
We can make it work. We can make it work.
Great job, Brian. Appreciate you hanging out with us again today. Thank you, man.
Anytime, and go Noles. Sorry, Canes fans. Go Noles.